afternoon, viewers and listeners. Welcome once again to Salida Teleradyo of La Filipina National High School. I am your teacher host, Sir Jason Flor de Alta, and this afternoon, you will learn many things about writing proofs, both direct and indirect. A lesson in Mathematics 8, Quarter 2, Module 9. Are you all ready? Let's give the floor to our teacher broadcaster, Sir Joseph Forzuelo.
Thank you so much, Sir Jason. Hello viewers and listeners, especially to our grade 8 learners. Welcome to Salida Teleradyo. I am Sir Joseph I. Forzuelo, your math teacher for today. Are you ready to learn a new topic in mathematics? Then brace yourself as we cross our journey on writing a proof in both direct and indirect. At the end of this lesson, the learners will be able to attain the following objectives. A. Define direct and indirect proof. B. Differentiate direct and indirect proof. C. Describe the different ways in writing a direct and indirect proof. D. Complete the proof in paragraph form, 2-column form, and flowchart form. And last, write a direct and indirect proof using paragraph form, 2-column form, and flowchart form. Before we start on writing a proof, let's define first a proof. A proof is an organized set of statements and reasons to establish the truth of a specific statement. It means we need to provide a statement and reason to make a statement true. We also have two kinds of proof. It is the direct proof, which means reasoning directly from given to conclusion with the use of definitions, theorems, and postulates. Another one is indirect proof. It is also known as proving by contradiction. It is started by assuming a denial of what is to be proved, then deducing a contradiction from this assumption. It uses a contradiction towards the proved statement as an assumption. Kumbaga, para siyang isang halimbawa ng triangle is a three-sided polygon. Sa indirect proof naman, it becomes triangle is not a three-sided polygon. You are negating the given problem, pero at the end, papatunayan mo that this is true. Now, to understand these two proofs clearly, let's recall first the following properties of equality. Here are some algebraic properties of equality. And A, B, and C are real numbers. Since this lesson has already been discussed in grade 7 level, let's have a little bit of review. First, what property of equality? If A is equal to B, then A times C is equal to B times C. That's right. It is multiplication property of equality. How about this? If A times the quantity of B plus C equal to A times B plus A times C, what property of equality is that? Very good. It is distributive property of equality. How about this? If A is equal to B and C is equal to D, then A plus C is equal to B plus D. That is addition property of equality. Next, if A is equal to B and C is equal to D, then A minus C is equal to B minus C. That's right, it is the opposite of APE, which is the subtraction property of equality. Last, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. What is that? It is transitive property of equality. Now, let us study the different ways of writing proof through this example. Given M is the midpoint of line segment AB, and prove that line segment AM is congruent to line segment BM. So we have a figure below composing of a line and a 3 points, naming A, M, and B. Now to prove this statement, we can use the following ways to write a proof. First is the paragraph form. In paragraph form, you are going to write only a paragraph statement out of this given example. Now for me, given that point M is the midpoint of line segment AB, by the definition of midpoint, the measurement of line segment AM and line segment PM are equal, since line segment AM is congruent to line segment PM. Then, by the definition of congruent segments, we can say that the line segment AM is congruent to line segment PM. Now, how about for our two-column form? In this method, we are going to use a table. We will create two columns, and the first column will be on the statement and the other column is for reasoning. Now, let me read the following statements. Number 1, M is the midpoint of line segment AB. What would be the reason? Well, that's given. Number 2, line segment AM is equal to line segment BM. The reason will be, it is the definition of midpoint. Number 3, line segment AM is congruent to line segment BM because of the definition of congruent segments. Now, for this statement and reason, it proves that line segment AM is congruent to line segment BM because of the following reasons. Alright? Now, the last method we have is what we call the flowchart form. A flowchart proof is a formal proof that is set up with boxes that flow from one to set to the next with arrow. The statements, which are true facts that we know, are placed in the boxes with the reason we know on the line underneath. These are the three forms of writing a proof. Now, let's find out how to use this in indirect proof. This is an example of an indirect proof. Given M is not the midpoint of AB, it is an example of a negation on our first example. Prove that line segment AM is not equal to line segment BM. We do have the same formats of ways on how to write indirect proof. First, we use the paragraph form.
Given that M is not the midpoint of AB, prove that line segment AM is not equal to line segment PM. In paragraph form, given that point M is not the midpoint of line segment AB, then we can assume that the line segment AM and line segment BM are not equal. But saying M is the midpoint of line segment AB can also be used as contradiction to a statement that proves that line segment AM is not a statement or equal to BM. The idea denies being the midpoint of point M, but in the end, it becomes true. Now, what about the two-column proof? The two-column proof will be the following statements and reasons. Number 1, M is not the midpoint of line segment AB. Well, that's given. Number 2, line segment AM is equal to line segment BM, which is our assumptions. 3, M is the midpoint of line segment AB because of the definition of midpoint. And number 4, AM or line segment AM is not equal to line segment BM because it contradicts the statement in number 1 and number 3. And that's for our two-column proof. Now what about our flowchart form? So this is the flowchart of our indirect proof given problem. On the first box, we have M is not the midpoint of line segment AB, together with its reason, which is given. Followed by line segment AM is equal to line segment BM, which is our assumption. Third, M is the midpoint of line segment AB, which is the definition of midpoint. And number 4, line segment AM is not equal to line segment PM. And its reason is, it contradicts the statement 1 and 3. Now, let's practice. Since you already have ideas on how to write a direct and indirect proof of a statement, let's apply what we have learned through these problems. Given, capital Q, R, S, and T are collinear. Do you know what is a collinear? Collinear are points that are on the same line. Another given we have, QR or line segment QR is equal to line segment ST. Prove that line segment QS is equal to line segment RT. Now, for this example, I will give to you the statement and you will be the one to give the following reasons. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, now let's start. For number 1 statement, I will write there QR or line segment QR is equal to ST. So it is very obvious that for that number 1 statement, it is our given. What about this statement? Q, R, S, and T are collinear. What would be the reason? Well, of course, it is still given. How about this? Line segment RS and line segment RS will be equal to line segment RS. What property implies to that? It is reflexive property of equality. What about this? Line segment QR plus line segment RS is equal to line segment QS, and line segment RS plus line segment ST is equal to line segment RT. It is addition property of equality, or you can call it also segment addition postulate. Now, for our last statement, we have QS or line segment QS is equal to line segment RT based on our substitution, or it can be called as transitive property of equality. Did you get it correctly? Well, very good. Now, let's proceed on our second example. Given x is greater than 2x, prove that x is not equal to 1. Now, for this problem, it is indirect proof. Let's prove it using a paragraph form. Now, I will give you 1 minute to give the paragraph form of this given problem. Right? So, I will give the time to you. You have 1 minute to answer it. Now, time is up. First thing to do in a paragraph form, we must assume temporarily that x is equal to 1. Followed by, we substitute 1 in place of x. And it becomes 1 is greater than 2 times 1. But this contradicts the given fact that x is greater than 2x, since the result becomes 1 greater 2 or 1 greater than 2, and 1 is not greater than 2. Therefore, the temporary assumption that x is equal to 1 must be false. Do you have the same answer? Very good. Now, let us remember the following key terms. Indirect proof is proving by contradiction or negating the statement. Direct proof is reasoning from a given conclusion using definitions, theorems, and postulate. And our three different ways in writing a proof. We have the paragraph form, the two-column form, and the flowchart form. For our assessment, kindly provide a clean sheet of paper and a pencil as we proceed to our short quiz. This is the instruction. Prove this problem using either of the three methods in direct proving. You can use paragraph form, two-column form, or the flowchart form. I will give you 2 minutes to answer this problem. Is that clear? Now this is the problem. Given A or angle A and angle B are right angles shown in the figure. Prove that angle A is congruent to angle B. Your time starts now. Okay, you have 30 seconds remaining. Okay, time is up. Now for this problem, we can use two-column proof. To prove this statement. So, the following statement are as follows. Number 1, angle A and angle B are right angles. Well, the reason is that's given. Number 2, measure angle A is equal to 90 degrees. Well, the reason is right angle measures 90 degrees. Number 3, measure angle A is equal to measure angle B, which is the transitive property of equality. And for number 4 statement, angle A is congruent to angle B because of the definition of congruent angles. Then that's proof our given problem. Now I hope you understand our lesson for today, and I hope you got the correct answer. Now, for our assignment, I want you to solve for proving problems and try to prove it using direct method. You can use any of the method, the paragraph form, the two-column form, or the flowchart form. Or you can also use indirect method. You can write your output in a piece of paper and submit it to your respective teacher. And that's the end of our episode for today's Salida Teleradyo. If you have questions, you may clarify them with your math teachers. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I am Teacher Joseph Forzuelo. saying goodbye for today. Have a nice day.
That was great! Thank you, Sir Joseph, and thank you viewers and listeners for tuning in. I hope you have learned something today. Once again, I am your teacher host, Sir Jason, saying, if math is hard and so is life, then get over it. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.